What's up, everybody? What's going on, good people? Welcome to the show. Doing things a little differently today. Hopefully, everything goes well. Coming at an awkward time for me, but we about to get this thing started, about to get it going nonetheless. Strap on in. Let's get ready to go. And let's get it. But make sure you hit the like button as you're catching it now after it's uploaded. Make sure that you hit that like button. Let's go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What is up? What is going on, good people? I see you, DeMac the Trucker, is saying he haven't watched it yet. Don't spoil it. And then you ain't even got Netflix. You ain't gonna watch it. You ain't gonna watch it. No, but I ain't gonna spoil. I'll probably spoil one joke. One joke. It's not really a joke. It's just a good point. It's just a good point that he made. But overall, no, you should be fine. You could watch. If you haven't watched it yet, you could definitely still watch this and enjoy this. I won't even be on that long. And I say that all the time, but I actually mean it today because I got something I need to do. But I just recently watched it myself. So I just figure I'll give my thoughts on it while it was fresh on my mind. Figure I might as well do that. Riff on it a little bit. Probably send this right to members only. And this could be a little conversational. I'll even drop the link a little early. But shout out to those that made it in early. Aaron B in the building. Shout out to Aaron B, DeMac the Trucker, as I already acknowledged with the $2 super chat. I always forget to play this, but it's a classic.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Shout out to DeMac the Trucker in here with the $2. Aaron B, you just spamming. Quit saying I'm finna spoil it. You making people leave. Cut it out. You just didn't post it. Yeah, cut it out. No, I'm good. Ainge A in the building says, I watched it. Some cringe, non-PC funny moments, LOL. But overall, it wasn't that controversial, at least to me. More insightful than outright disrespectful. Yeah, he tried to go he tried to go the route of being insightful and giving perspective and not just offensive. To me it seemed like he was more walking the line. He was more trying to tightrope walk on not being controversial, trying to bring clarity. It wasn't exactly like an apology. That would be pushing it far. But for a comedian who's normally controversial, it did seem a little slightly apologetic in a sense, in a tone of I want to be understood. I want you to understand and have this clarity. That's sort of how I felt. But it was some good jokes in there. It was some good humor in there. It's and the larger point that I want to talk about is the wokeness. The whole term "get woke, go broke," as they're saying. Well, actually, Obsidian, the first one I ever heard stated. I don't know if he made it up, but the whole term "get woke, go broke," it's it's taken over. Like wokeness has ruined a lot of it's ruined a lot of things. It, truth be told, and I hesitated whether or not I want to get into this, but to some degree, it has ruined a lot of YouTube. Well, not ruined a lot of YouTube content creators, but it has changed the way that we do things. And it's not that the content creator himself is woke. It's not that the comedian is woke. It's just that the comedian has to be conscious of the woke crowd, the woke audience, and the woke backlash, and what that could potentially do to his career. A YouTube content creator himself, because YouTube ultimately yields to certain levels of wokeness, then it's certain levels of wokeness in its policies, which means ultimately that we got to tread lightly ourselves. We got to tread lightly ourselves as YouTube content creators. We have to tread lightly, even if we're not on the wokeness to some degree. We still have to tread lightly. Got to play by the rules, so to speak. And I'm not tripping on that. I'm not tripping on that because I am a firm believer. If you want to do something the way you want to do it, you need to create it yourself. I'm a firm believer in that. So I have no problem with playing by YouTube rules. And I've said before that, hey, they got sponsors that play ads before the videos. So hey, they gotta consider that in all their decision making. Then when it trickles down to us, yeah, we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta do it the way that we have to do it. Or run the real risk and the real possibilities. Because one thing that I'm noticing, and I've been doing a little research on this, and a lot of people have essentially came to this conclusion. Shout out to Darth Low Trademark, said Chappelle is a goat. I disagree. He's funny, but I don't. When far as stand-up comedy, no, he ain't the goat. I can't. No. But no, he's that dude. But no, overall, this much is what I'll definitely say. When it comes to free speech, there's no such thing as a true free speech platform. I don't listen to the white manosphere that much, but I saw it was a stream that popped. Sandman stuff still pop up on my timeline from time to time. And something popped up where it was Sandman, Turfling, and Monkey, and three other guys I never heard of. And they were talking about free speech because a lot of their channels go through problems and everything too. They're getting taken down, they're getting struck, they're getting hit. So they want to it's a lot of them that have made, various free speech platforms. And whenever you say, yeah, it's going to be free speech, you can say whatever you want, they point out that when they do that, then eventually the Nazis and the pedos show up. The Nazis and the pedos show up as soon as they try to do that. So it's like so even when they try to be hardcore balls out free speech, even they can't do it because eventually somebody going to show up that's going to have them like, whoa, hold on, wait, we said free speech, but damn, like, no, this ain't going to work. So they end up having to put in disclaimers of, no pornographic material, no this, no that. But free speech, well, no, okay, I guess it's not free speech. You see, you see the contradiction that you run into when you try to be hardcore about the free speech. It's almost impossible to make a free speech platform. So you really just got to make a platform and just be balls out about it. It's about my views and my ideas. If I don't want it, it's not going to be here. If it's problematic if it's bad for business, it's not going to be here. That's essentially what it comes down to. Now, Free Speech Avenger, they're pretty balls out with it. People can be posting porn and all kind of stuff on there. But there's so much stuff on there that's crazy that I don't want my name next to that stuff, even though I do got content on there, older content. And so then therein lies the problem, to where it's impossible to have a perfectly free speech, non-woke platform. You run into those problems. Oh, JB, let's talk about it. You say you strongly disagree. What up, Theo? What up, Hood Conservative? Saw you in the building. He said corporations are suppressing speech where government cannot. Dangerous games being played here. This was supposed to be a short riff of my little afterthoughts of Dave Chappelle. So if JB, you disagree with what you heard so far, come up. I can definitely open it up a bit and we can have a conversation and I can hear where and why you disagree. What am I getting wrong? What am I getting wrong? Link is in chat. Anybody can really come up. Anybody can really come up because I don't know how long I'm gonna be on. So I'll throw that link in there right now. But when I watch Dave Chappelle's stand-up, it reeked. It did kind of reek of somebody treading carefully. Even though he did say he did take some jabs. He did make some good jokes and some good points. But he was treading carefully. He didn't want to blow up the spot. He didn't want to say nothing too harsh. And he wanted to bring clarity. He was shooting for clarity more so than just really just not kicking them in the nuts, because he's not even 100% sure if they all have nuts. That was one of his jokes. That was one of his better jokes. But no, definitely JB or anybody can come on up. I am very interested to see what he disagrees with about what I was saying about a free speech platform. How in many ways it's not quite possible to have a true free speech platform. And this is low-key something me and you do need to talk about. I was planning on talking to you about this, even though we're not going to give too much away. But I think you are on the air, even though I don't see an image. I don't see. Are you on? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Hey, hold on. Wait, I know why. All right, now
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry, I'm in this is the car Bluetooth, so if there's any issues, my bad for that.
Oh yeah, no problem. All right, yeah. What part? What did you said you strongly disagree? What did you strongly disagree with?
So I disagree with the fact that I think the issue is that our understanding of free speech is what's wrong. I disagree that you can't build a free speech platform. So I think when people take a position that free speech is absolute, it's actually quite silly. And if you even look at how free speech laws are applied, even at the government level, just in terms of like just regular law. Um, there's always nuance, right? There's always nuance, and you can't have an absolute free speech. So if that's what you mean, then I would agree with that. But I also think it's very silly to think that you'd be able to have that in the first place anyway. Is I guess what my position is that like you're gonna need some parameters. Now you can have a platform where you basically make it clear that this is not, we're not going to shut you down just because you have a different point of view, different ideology, but there can be limits, and I mean you have to have limits, right? You have, like, whether it's like, if people are going to come on your platform and start talking about genocide, are you going to allow that? So it's not even a matter of, like, you could be a so-called white supremacist. That's still at the until you start talking, genocide, or even, I guess, an argument could be made for Nazis and stuff like that. I think that's where you just have to have a clear understanding of what does free speech actually mean, because what we have all right now is definitely not free speech. So I think we also agree on that. Like what you have on YouTube, or where they'll just pick and choose what they want to censor and not. But I think just have.
Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, see, now that's where you just stumbled into the problem. You just said what we have on YouTube is not free speech. They can pick and choose what they want to censor. I argued that there can be no free speech platform because somebody's going to put some parameters on it. In the case of YouTube, the people that run YouTube, they are the ones putting the parameters on it. Let's just say if we were to create a separate platform, we would be the Nazi up at the top creating the parameters, would we not? And then somebody could equally say, just like YouTube is not free speech, this platform, this separate platform that Joe Smo created, it's also not free speech because he's setting those parameters.
So let me ask you this, Bernard.
He don't hold on. Wait, Joe Smo doesn't like Nazis, and YouTube don't like anti-feminists. They're both moderating somebody's free speech if they kick them off the platform or don't allow them on the platform for making their points. Okay, go.
But those are different. Those are different, right? So let me ask you a question, Bernard. Do you believe that the United States is basically subscribed to free speech? Do you believe that?
Let me say that again.
Do you believe that in the United States, that generally speaking, we subscribe to the notion of free speech? That our laws support that. Do you believe that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so if you believe that, then my point is basically that, because, for example, you could still get in trouble for making terroristic threats, right? You still have states like in Georgia, for example, you have the fighting words, what they consider fighting words, right? Where while you may have free speech for something, you may say something to somebody that makes them end up essentially, quote unquote, defending themselves, even though you didn't actually attack them, and just because it was fighting words, they can have a defense for that, right? So the point I'm making is that nuance. I actually think that's a very fair thing to have. It's very fair to say, okay, it's not okay to make terroristic threats, but it's not okay to tell me that I can't, say something against, Biden or Trump or whatever. And I don't think anybody should do, regardless of how I feel about their position. I think you can have that nuance, is what I'm saying. I think some people take free speech as I can just do whatever the hell I want, and so it doesn't matter that I'm, advocating for, predatory behavior on children, or I am advocating for genocide, when really free speech actually never means that. There's nowhere that you can actually find an example of free speech actually meaning that in practice.
Okay, really, wait, hold on. So really what people should be saying is that they shouldn't be complaining that YouTube isn't about free speech, or I want to go to a free speech platform. Really what you want to do is you want to go to a platform that allows you to say whatever you want to say, your particular box of ideas, no matter how controversial, no matter how much they push the envelope. You want a platform where your particular brand of pushing it too far is okay, but somebody who pushes it a little too far for you, if that happens to be your particular that happens to be your platform, you will censor it and shut it down if you deem that how far this guy pushes it to be bad for your business. So
I don't think it's a
all I'm saying is in that sense, hold on real quick. What all I'm saying is in that sense, when people say we need free speech, to some degree that they're framing it the wrong way, and I think we agree on that. I think we agree that they are framing it the wrong way, because to say we need free speech, it misses a mark in the analysis, because YouTube, even though it's huge, it is a privately owned platform. I mean, the government doesn't own YouTube, so this is privately owned, just like Free Speech Adventure. It's some separate MGTOW website where people, I think, Turf Flinging Monkey post on there or something.
Well, that's what that's what I was about to say. Is that so? There's two parts to this, right? So the first thing is that YouTube doesn't actually advocate itself as a free speech platform anyway, right? YouTube doesn't try to be that. Their terms of service, if you actually read the YouTube terms of service, or at least the parts of it that are relevant to this, they don't even try to pretend that they're free speech, right? So that expectation is not even. I mean, it's pointless to have that expectation. It's a private company. They're just doing what works best for them and their profit, their profit motive, right? So I don't even think it's worthy of the argument. But the other point is that I don't believe this is a levels thing. Like I don't think it's like who takes it further than the other. It's more so just having a pretty I would say like general consensus kind of nuance, right? So for example, I think the majority of the population would agree that well, I know some people would probably, and this is where you do get into some stuff that's kind of debatable. But I think for the most part, most people would agree that, we should not advocate for genocide. The people who advocate for that are the minority, almost by definition, right? In a lot of cases, right? And so if you make that, if we all agree that this is not a good thing, and we just stick to those rather than just going by politics or different views or feminism, anti-feminism, I'm just saying that having a very clear, you know, these are the things that we just leave those alone, right? And then anything else, it's like if we're not talking about, if we're not advocating for being child predators and genocide and these kind of topics, then you can have a free speech platform where you can say all the things you don't like about Barack Obama, and this guy here can say all the things he doesn't like about Trump. I may disagree with this guy on Trump, and I may disagree with this guy on Hillary, on Obama or Clinton, but both views can stay up, right? That can still be a legitimate free speech platform. Just because you have some nuance and some parameters, I don't think makes it not free speech. I think it's unrealistic to expect free speech in a very absolute fashion, is what I'm saying. Like because there's no way you could actually have that work. You can't actually,
Okay.
and there's no example of that in the world. Like you can't find me a single place in the world where you have an example of an absolute free speech. It's not realistic.
Okay, so I guess my question is then, do you think a free speech platform it will work? You let any and everything in. You just say you can't advocate for violence against somebody. You can't advocate for hurting or harming people because in a way then that goes beyond speech. That's in many ways threatening to do something or trying to get somebody else to do something. So, but you say take that off the table, inciting the riot or getting people trying to inspire people to do something, or saying that people should do something, or saying that you're going to do something. Like taking that off the table, threatening genocide, taking that off the table. You think a truly free speech platform will work?
Yes, I think you could have a truly free speech platform. Yes, I think what ends up
Okay.
happening though, I think what just to add some context to that, I think what ends up happening though in practice is that um, once people, because for example, I think Dave Rubin, he's an example of somebody who tried to, I forgot what his site is called, but I've heard some people complain about it. He's built like some kind of platform, some kind of free speech platform. I forgot the name of it, but what ends up happening in practice is essentially once some people start applying those parameters where they say, okay, here are the parameters where you advocate for this or you do this, then this is where it gets to be wrong, right? This is where we can't have this on our platform. Well, what ends up happening is uh, people end up still using their bias because they have the control. Then they start going a little deeper than those parameters. So I think beyond just setting those rules, you'd also need a way of making sure that um, they can't be abused even by your own self, right? Like, let's say I'm releasing this platform. I would actually want to set it up in a way where even I can't abuse my own system. If I really do believe in free speech, I just want to
Mm.
know that I just want to know that we can't. I just want to know that we don't have any child predators on here and people advocating for genocide and violence and stuff like that. But beyond that, I want to make it. I want to make it so that even I can't go and try to silence somebody because I think you need to a certain extent even prevent yourself from being able to do it because people there's almost a natural inclination to because everybody has their own biases, right? So it's almost going to be like while they're imagine for example you're moderating a certain set of posts and you see one thing that just triggers you a bit, you really don't like this post. um what's to keep that person from just hitting delete since they have that power, right? Because they can just delete it, right? Because that internally they're behaving out of their emotions at that point. So I think at that point you would need to have a set of controls to prevent yourself from abusing your own system, if that makes sense. So I think in practice that's really what happens that breaks these systems apart is that people's bias still get in the way, because once they have the set of tools in their hand, they just essentially end up abusing them. Um, but if you have a protection against that, I
Yeah,
think it's
because
entirely doable.
somebody could set up a free speech platform, and they could set it up because let's just say they're very conservative, they're very far right, and they want to
Hmm.
be able to speak their views. So they create a free speech platform where you can come on and you can say anything. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of liberals start coming on making accounts. And now liberals have taken over your free speech platform, even though you can say
Right.
whatever you want to say, but most of the content on your platform you created is a bunch of stuff you disagree with. That person then is going to start blocking accounts, going to start getting rid of
Exactly.
accounts. And then he's essentially became everything that he left for, that he complained about, that made him leave. But at the end of the day, that's why I was along the lines of what it ends up becoming is just you build your own, and then you're essentially God. You just run the show and you get, I mean, I was saying, I'm not saying that's what it should be. I'm just saying that's what it ends up being. You have your rules, they got their rules. Yes, it's free speech, but in your house, you control what can be said and what can't be said. So, but I think the way that you're talking about it, that is an actual, good way to do it, where you're willing to put systems and controls in there to where if you set it up, if you created it, you wouldn't even be able to just get rid of somebody's account. Like that's deep. Like so I definitely like what you said there, what your thoughts are on that. That's something that I
And by the
really
way,
go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead, Bernard. Sorry.
Well, no, you can go ahead because I was going to read this comment right here and get your response for that, because I think Lotus Scalper is missing the point. He said free speech is a constitutional right regardless if the business is private. You can't punish people for their opinions. I think he's missing the mark on that.
You absolutely can. That's foolishness. A private company can basically do anything according to their terms of service, okay, and what they decide to do. It's there. You don't just get to go on. I think this is where it becomes an issue though, because there are good arguments that are kind of in favor of what Lotus Scalper is saying. For example, Twitter, right? Twitter has become kind of like what I've heard some people say it's like the public square, or a lot of people go on these platforms these days for. I don't have a Twitter or Facebook account, but I know what they mean, right? So it's like a lot of people go on these platforms to essentially find their news, and I mean you have literal leader of countries communicating purely just via social media, right? So when it gets to that point where this is what this is considered kind of like a source of truth, right? And this is where you go to listen to your leader and whatnot. Then that is an important question now, because it becomes an important question where can that company continue to say that well we can do whatever we want according to our terms of services, and what I'm saying, according to our rules, right? And I think a perfect example obviously is the Donald Trump situation where he was basically deplatformed. I think that's very at 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 best, I think to me, I think that was highly inappropriate, right? To take, regardless of what you feel about him, I think it was highly inappropriate to deplatform a sitting president, right? So even if we take it away from law, I think that was highly inappropriate. But
Wait
I
a
think it
minute,
does
but
open
hold
up.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Didn't they make the case that he was emboldening people to storm the Capitol or something like that? Wouldn't that fit within your parameters that you said that if you're um you use the example of trying to promote or inspire genocide, but if you're trying to promote and inspire people to storm the Capitol,
But
wouldn't that
but no,
fall into it?
that's too vague. That's too vague. I mean, even the laws that we have in practice right now in the United States, right? They don't cover that. You can't really just inspire, because when you say inspire, that's too vague. That's way too vague, right? It gives so much wiggle room for people to to essentially do whatever they want. So
I have to see
what I'm saying is,
there it is. Hold on, wait. There it is right there. With the problem with a free speech platform is that yes, it will turn into a situation where if somebody is vague about promoting pedoism, if they're just really vague about it, okay, we can't really say that that's what he's on here to no. Do you see what I'm saying? If he's we're very vague about these people that he would rather not live, he put it in a kind of metaphoric way, but he's animated and he's animated and charismatic, and he kind of you know he finessed it really well. Like would that wouldn't that fall under the guidelines of nope, you can't do that over here on this platform that I created. And then once you start hacking down on people because of that, then it's again it ends up looking like a restriction of free speech. Going back to my original premise that is really no exact way to truly
So
get free
So
speech.
to answer your question, first of all, I think that's an excellent question, what you just asked there, because I mean, the same thing though, Bernard, exists, and again, we can take it back to free speech, in terms of like American law, right, constitutional rights, etc. It's the same issue exists there, right, where you do have some edge cases, right, you do have edge cases where it's kind of like open for interpretation per se, right, where you have to have a certain where essentially certain things will be taken to court, right? Where whether it's a jury or however it's settled, we have to determine was this free speech or not. That's why those cases exist, right? Because there are those edge cases where you can't really just look at it and say, yeah, this was definitely free speech or not. So to your point, I think my point is this. My overall point is this. I think you could build a free speech platform essentially modeled almost exactly like our current system is, because I think we have the opportunity to be in a pretty good system when it comes to free speech in America, right? Like regardless of whatever anybody will say, like I mean, this is America is and Bernard, you and I we've had private conversations about this. Like it's very, I mean, we have so many opportunities here when it comes to our ability to do and say whatever we want, right? So I think it would be okay to model something similar to that, but also understand that there will be edge cases. But I think they are by definition edge cases. Like it's not like every day you're gonna have a scenario like that. And maybe in those edge cases you have some kind of way of resolving that. Maybe some independent panel or you create some form of system to handle that, right? To resolve those edge cases. I would still advocate against just taking them down. And I'm saying this even if somebody said something like completely just like even against me personally, or I still think they should have a platform to say. That's for me. That's where so that and that's why I think it's important to have protections, to have ways to protect yourself even from abusing your own platform. Because I would still want that person to be able to say whatever they want to say, as long as they're not actually inciting violence, not inspiring, but inciting, right? Because I think inspiring just leaves way too much wiggle room, and I don't even in in practice, in America, etc. Like it's not, you can't just inspire violence. You can't just
Yeah.
inspire violence. It's inciting. The language is typically pretty clear on stuff like that. Um, if that makes sense.
hmm Um, different subject. I'm putting you on the spot here because you sent me the video link with the news of Glendon Cameron, something that I'm not going to touch, and not that I'm not going to be touching. This probably is going to be going to members only anyway. Uh, what you got anything to say on that? Any thoughts on that? I just saw a thumbnail where somebody said another. I just one thing I hate about YouTube. Somebody said, let me make sure I read this right. Somebody said another manosphere pedo or predator exposed. Like, how is that? Like, when was he a part of? Okay, never mind. I just what's your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on that? You sent it to me. I ain't touching it. I ain't doing nothing on it. But I got you here, so go ahead, fire away. What you got on that?
Well, for one, I think he's disgusting. For one,
Yeah.
I think he's just gross. So, like straight up, because um, I'll be honest with you. When I saw Anton stream, Anton be having certain titles just to get people to like clickbait titles, right? I love it. I'm not saying this in a bad way, by the way. I love Anton, right? But he be having
Yeah.
clickbait titles. So when I first saw the
No,
title, I'm like,
I remember Anton said said, "Yeah, I don't put negative things. I don't do content on negative things. I don't put negative things in my titles or thumbnails." And I was sitting there like, "Okay, I'll wait." And then eventually, I was like, "Yeah, that ain't gonna hold up." He said, "I heard him say
Yeah,
it a
so
week
so
ago."
so
Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, so once I saw like the title, I kind of assumed like Anton was probably it was just hyperbolic, but I watched the stream, like Anton's actual stream, and then I actually went and watched his Glenn and Cameron's video on the YouTube page that he posted it on. And I was mind blown. I'll be honest with you. I was mind
Yeah,
blown that he could go on the internet and post that. And I think what fascinates me with that is that, in a bad way, by the way, not like fascinates, like in a bad way, is that he apparently does not even realize that what he's saying is wrong. It's like you know what I'm saying. Like as he explains it, he's explaining it like, see, this could have happened to me too, and I could have been a child predator. It's like, bro, everything you just explained here,
it
like
did happen to you. I mean, like
everything you just explained here,
this
and
could have
I'm
been
just
me.
like,
He
I
was
felt
like,
like he was.
he was like, this
Go
could
ahead.
have been me. And then he told the story, and I'm like, no, that it was you. It was literally you. Like,
Word,
God
like
dang.
I was just listening to it, like, bro, is this dude gaslighting me? Because everything I just heard here is just, I mean, this is like horrible, and for you to, especially him being in, of the status that he is, and as far as I know about him, and for you to like basically feel so bold to post that on the internet, well, first of all, to even do the things that you said you did, but on top of that, to actually essentially confess, like that's a confession video. That's a confession video, and to me, that's just, I mean, he's disgusting. But on top of that, I personally, I could be wrong about this, but I think he's just opened a whole can of worms here because, for one, um, I'm willing to bet, right there, based on how he spoke, it sounds like there's way more, incidents, way more of these things that he did, and I'm willing to bet that this video is gonna end up, blowing up somehow, and somebody's gonna see it that knew him, and whether he did something to them or not, he's gonna become the next, Me Too or whatever situation. I could see something like that happening. But even if it doesn't happen, if I were to really give you my views on guys like that, it's not PG, bro. Like I'm just being honest with you. I have no love for child predators, absolutely no love, and I mean straight up, like I don't even think I don't think they should be allowed to exist. So that's my stance on it, right? So I don't even want to get, in terms of like how I really feel inside about dudes like that. But I just think it's very disgusting. Like I think it's really disgusting, and he feels very bold. Um, and he especially upsets me. Dudes like this especially upset me because, you know, he obviously has, resources, right? And it's kind of like similar to the billionaire that shall not be named that, apparently quote unquote suicided himself, right? So, um, I I hate those guys even more because it's like you're using your resources that you could be using for a million other things, right? To do a lot of other things, I'm not even saying, you have to go give it away or whatnot, but like at least be productive, you know what I'm saying? But you're using your resources essentially to prey on kids and stuff like that. Like to me, I just have no love for cats like that. I'm not even gonna go on my spiel about this, but I just have zero. And I mean, like, I really don't even think this dude should continue to exist. That's my stance on it. I don't even think he should continue to exist.
So
So
you just advocated for death or violence towards
I kind of, as I was saying this, I knew you were gonna say that,
yeah,
but I didn't advocate
you
for it.
just did it.
I didn't
We
advocate
talking
for it.
about free speech and how you draw the line on free speech. If somebody advocates for the hurting, harming, killing, murdering of someone else, and you just did it. You just said Glenn Cameron shouldn't exist.
I
That's
just
all I'm
said, see, I just caught that edge case right there. I didn't actually say it. Maybe I inspired.
yeah. See, that's the edge. That's right there on that edge. But yeah, we about to go to lesson burned. Get his thoughts. I don't know if you wanted to come up and talk about when we was talking about the Dave Chappelle issue, the free speech issue. I don't know if you came up on the Glendon aspect of it. I'll just say it was
No.
weird. It was weird when I was because I did listen to that video. Damn, I don't even want to get into it. But when you said that it sound like, listen, I ain't trying to charge nobody up with more than what he charged himself up with. But yeah, when he said that, he was just talking about, and you just don't understand when you just have that insatiable appetite for young women. I was like, come on, man, like come on. It was like he basically was said talking like he get a high off the fact that that he knows she ain't never done this before. It's like, and you guys got to understand that appetite for that. It's like he was basically just giving you a look inside the mind of how, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone. Go ahead, lesson Burn. You got it.
Hey, what's up? Salute to y'all. You can hear me?
Yeah, you good.
All right, but hey, salute to you. Appreciate you letting me come up here. The other brother that's up here, he's pretty much on point, but he did contradict himself. He did contradict himself at the end with that. If they say absolute power corrupts absolute, it's, to me, I put a link in the private chat, but I just want to give a little context to it because this is pretty much going on the free speech thing, and seen some comments in the chat, and I've heard this a lot of other times, but people don't realize that there's public and private. Right, public and private do not mix. Right, so anything in the private is not getting taxed. Anything in the public is getting taxed. You're paying taxes on goods and services. You're paying taxes on pretty much engaging in commerce, basically, or you're paying it for a benefit. But if it's a private company, they can fire you for whatever. And
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, the link I put in the chat, it's just like a 2-minute video. You can play it if you want to, but it's just a Supreme Court Justice Anthony Scalia and Dianne Feinstein, and they were going over some topic and regarding someone being fired because she was a female or something.
This video, hold on real quick. Do it get right to the point? Because I don't like to play videos that I've never seen.
Yeah, it's only 2 minutes long.
No, but I'm really, you do it get right to the point. I hate to play 1 minute of perfunctory that don't got nothing to do with what we're trying to see. But
yeah, we'll skip to the last 1 minute, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. To where it's literally no argument because it's All right. You can skip like halfway through, like play like the last play like the last minute and 10 seconds of it.
Okay. Well. Okay. Let's see. I think I got it. What did I do it? Did I do it right? Okay. Here we go. There we go.
Women included.
Yeah, of course they're included. Yeah.
Okay, well, I want the backstory now. All right, free use. I mean, I see it's free use, fair use, fair use.
Right. Yeah. This is straight to the point, though. Yeah, I wouldn't even come up here with nothing that's gonna.
All right.
Do a
no, some people would be like, let's.
I feel. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, because I mean,
it'd be an 8-minute video, but the money shot is between the 6 minute and 30 second and 6 minute and 45 second part. So I'm like, we just watched 6 minutes and 30 seconds for no reason. All right.
Right. But basically the context.
America.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, we'll roll it. I think you set up the context pretty good. So let's roll it.
America is represented by the distinction of this great court. And now I want to ask you something about the 14th Amendment, and if both of you could respond to it. It's simple. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Is a woman included within that definition?
Yeah. A woman's a person. I think that's well established. Yeah, the issue is not whether a woman's a person. The issue is
where I'm going.
The issue is what constitutes equal protection.
Yes, all right. Are women included?
Yeah, of course they're included. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you.
But does equal protection mean that you have to have unisex toilets? I mean, that's the kind of question you have to get into.
This is your quote, Mr. Justice, in.
Wait a minute. He said the issue is whether or not you can have unisex clothes. The hell?
Of course they're included. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you.
But does equal protection mean that you have to have unisex toilets? I mean, that's
unisex toilets. I thought he said clothes. I can't hear nothing.
Yeah, it was on like some issue about it was it might have been the bathroom bill or something.
Yeah, it's like they're talking about the transgender bathroom situation or something.
Right, but yeah, the point is at the end, you're gonna bring it home.
question you have to get into.
This is your quote, Mr. Justice, in California. Certainly, the Constitution does not require discrimination on the basis of sex. The only issue is whether it prohibits it. It doesn't. Nobody ever thought that's what it meant. Nobody ever voted for that. If the current society wants to outlaw discrimination by sex, hey, we have things called legislatures, and they enact things called laws. So why doesn't the 14th Amendment then cover women?
The 14th Amendment, Senator, does not apply to private discrimination. I was speaking of Title VII and laws that prohibit private discrimination. The 14th Amendment says nothing about private discrimination, only discrimination by government.
Yes.
So, oh, I see. I see what you meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adrenaline got me sweaty. I don't think these people ready. I'm a spaz if they let me. Tell someone come and get me.
Oh, okay.
But
I didn't know
anytime
what
I
was
get
going on.
right, yeah. See,
But I want to hear that
Private
again.
discrimination. The 14th Amendment says nothing about private.
I see what she was doing. I see what she was doing now. She was trying to make a free speech argument. And yeah, the government cannot control speech. To go back to what I was saying to JB, is that no, the government cannot control people's speech at all, whatsoever. But I can tell you what you can and can't say in my house. You can't come in my house or my business saying some crazy stuff, and then I put you out because I don't like what you're saying, and then you'd be like, "Hey, free speech." Yeah. You're not on. You're on private property.
Right.
So there's that. Right on. No, I got it.
Nobody ever voted for that. If the current society wants to outlaw discrimination by sex, hey, we have things called legislatures, and they enact things called laws. So why doesn't the 14th Amendment then cover women?
The 14th Amendment, Senator, does not apply to private discrimination. I was speaking of Title VII and laws that prohibit private discrimination. The 14th Amendment says nothing about private discrimination, only discrimination by government.
Yes.
So, oh, I see what you meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adrenaline got me sweaty. I don't think these people.
Yeah, but no, got it. Now, see, here's the thing. Do you even constitutionally law, bro? That's funny. That's what it say down there. I don't know if y'all can see that because I got my little membership thing covering up. But all right. So this is where another slippery slope comes in. I'm good at finding the slippery slopes. Okay. Based off of that, I've heard somebody make a compelling argument that that's why they should be able to go back to colored, no coloreds, or whites only signs, or this or that. Because again, if this is private, I can say who I can and cannot bring in. But the catch with that one is, yes, this is a privately owned company, but it's open to the public, you see. So if it's open to the public, anybody who qualifies as being part of the public legally should be allowed to come in. But then you can refuse that person for pretty much any reason at your discretion, as long as it's not because of their skin color or their religion or their this or their that. So it's so much gray area, slippery slope area where somebody could essentially do a whites only sign, but without a whites only sign. A lot of people have complained that clubs do that, where the no blue jeans, no fitted caps, no this, no that. They're basically low key saying no niggas, but you know what I mean? That they're trying to put in laws or rules or regulations to try to get certain people out. Somebody come in that they didn't like, and they say, "Oh, we got a rule that you can't have baby blue fat laces in your Air Forces." So now this guy got to leave You know, it's
Yeah.
so
Well,
it's slippery slope in trying to do that. But anyway, go ahead. What's what you got? I'm sure you got something.
I mean, this is my only refute to it. Basically, if you're not making no money, you're not gonna be a private corporation, right? So if you private, you make enough money to where you can turn people away. But the thing of the matter is, like you said, clubs. I mean, I'm sure all clubs don't do that. Like nobody has, they're not doing this at, at every bank. They're not doing this at every grocery store. You see what I'm saying? Those are not necessarily private places. Those are places people have to go. You don't have to go to a club. You don't have to go to this club because the fact of the matter is, if I let anybody in the club, right, and it starts breaking down. It starts driving out the people that come here and pay me all the time, that pay me extra, pay me for bottle service. And they start letting anybody in the club. Well, now they're going to lose business. But the fact of the matter is that somebody would have to show me where somebody was able to take that to court and actually win, right? Like if you were to go and say this private corporation discriminated against me, and you take it to court. I mean, if you can show me that, anybody can show me that. I mean, be more than willing to look into it or whatever. But for the most part, I mean, the United States is incorporated. The United States is a republic. The corporation of the United States is democracy, right? So it's pretty much essentially two layers. And pretty much anything in the private, you don't have to acquiesce to the public. That's the whole point of being private. Like if you have private land and someone just says, well, hey, I should be able to come on your land. Well, I mean, based on what?
Well, it's the difference between private land and a privately owned business that's open to the public. That's
not necessarily though. Not necessarily though. I mean, you're looking at it as if the land is public too. What's stopping a person from coming into it? A public person can come on the land. A public person can come into the private, but they can be refused.
Okay, so all right. So do you support whites only signs?
Honestly, I don't care. Whites can do what they want to do.
No. I'm not asking you that. That's what a lot of people try to spin it.
Well,
to.
You asked. Hold on,
wait, real quick. I want to make sure I lay it out. It's
right.
I'm with you on the. If somebody doesn't want me there, I don't want to be there. That's the personal aspect of it. The legal aspect of it, it's not about whether or not I care. It's not about whether or not I care what white people do. It's legally, from a legal standpoint, do you support whites only signs based off everything that you said?
Well, I mean, the question you should ask maybe like, am I in favor? Because you asked support. I mean, I don't support
would you
any.
Would you be in favor? Would you be okay with it if that legislation was on the ballot and you could vote yes, no, or leave it blank? Which one would you do?
I'll leave it blank. I don't care.
Fair enough. That's all right.
But
all right.
Yeah, I just want to
negative man. Double down on it. Yes, I do. Now, yeah, and I'm more or less with that too. People should be able to do what they want to do. I've heard good arguments people made. You open a business, you don't owe anybody your service, but if a business is open to the public, again, it goes back to the gay wedding cake. The whole gay wedding cake situation. They can't ask the owner to use their artistic creativity and design a specialty cake for a gay person with somebody getting we ain't got to get into that. I don't know what they wanted on the cake.
Right. So what is the legal precedent of that?
But the gay person can walk in there and buy a cake off the rack. That you can't make that illegal right now per the current laws. It would be illegal to deny if somebody just walk in there in a guy walk in there with with rainbows on his shirt and got it tied up at the belly, got a shirt tied up around the waist at the belly or whatever. He walk in there, he want to buy a cake. The business owner, no matter what his views and values are, he technically can't deny that person walking into a business that's open for the public and buying something off the rack. You can't do that. and I support, even though I understand your point. I do think that in America, if you got a business open to the public, anybody in the public should be able to come in and patronize unless they do something problematic or harmful in any way. But then again, it turns into that slippery slope. It turns into that slippery slope where you ultimately deciding what's harmful and what's harmful. And a guy walking in there with his shirt, with a rainbow shirt tied up at the belly, I think that's harmful. I think that's drawing away customers. I want them the hell out of here. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, like I said, the fact of the matter is, it's facts. These are facts, right? So I just like to get to the facts type thing. You know, the hypotheticals and things like that. You know, it is what it is. But hey man, salute to you. Appreciate you having me up. I'm gonna be here long. Just wanted to share that with y'all. But y'all have a good one. Peace.
All right, no doubt. Peace. I don't know why I can't help but read Zero's comments whenever I see them. I don't know what the problem is with that. Whenever I see a Zero comment, I stop what I'm doing and I have to stop what I'm doing and read it. He said another nigga with robot brain trying to explain shit he don't know about. That's not accurate. No, the dude, he did good. He did good. He was fairly intelligent. He brought the link of something that more or less made sense. Get off him, Zero. Get off him. He good. What are we closing in on an hour? An hour was almost what I said that I was going to do. I just wanted to come in and riff on my take on the Dave Chappelle thingy majiggy. Did want to riff on that really quick, and it was good. It was entertaining, but it was yeah. You can see the wokeness. That's how we stumbled into the free speech debate and how the wokeness is affecting all comedians. It is affecting Chris Rock's comedy. It's affecting Dave Chappelle's comedy, even though he did make some funny ass jokes, or it wasn't even necessarily funny. It was just he gave some good, interesting perspective on a lot of issues, the Me Too, the whole transgender thingy majiggy, all of that. He gave some good perspective on it. And like I said earlier, there was a hint of apologizing that I felt was going on, where he didn't say, hey, I'm sorry for things that I said, but it was just a point of trying to make clarity. He did, but overall it wasn't bad, wasn't terrible, but it wasn't very controversial. It was treading lightly. He went down in the hole. He definitely wasn't down in the hole. I'll say that much. But we got JB back in the building. What's going on?
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make another quick point on the private versus public thing, and then I'm gonna hang up. But I think one of the important parts that people miss about the private versus public thing, it's actually kind of funny, is the fact that the very thing that allows you to essentially run your business the way you want to run it is free speech. If you get what I'm saying. So in other words, like you being able to turn away customers that are being destructive, or just like if somebody says something you don't like, as you mentioned, it can be something as simple as that. Like somebody says something you don't like in your own business, you have the entire right to kick them out. You don't need to have a legal explanation for that, right? And that's part of your free speech, because free speech doesn't just apply to actual. It's not just about speech. Free speech applies to actions, right? That's why free speech laws are where you typically use for protesting, for example, right? Because even if you're not saying anything, even if you have a silent protest, that's still a form of free speech, right? So so my point is, it's not just in terms of what you're saying, it's actually your actions as well. And part of what protects you as a business is the very constitutional right of free speech as well. So I just wanted to point that out.
All right. Good stuff. Oh, quick before
do you get what I'm saying though?
Oh no, absolutely. No, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm absolutely with you in that. Now, if you say something I didn't understand, I would interrogate. I do my interrogations. But But Bonnie, did you happen to see the Dave Chappelle thing at all?
No, I haven't seen. You talking about
Okay, his
his new
new
special?
comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. No.
Yeah, that's what I came for to talk about. I riffed on it for about 15 minutes.
I did hear you say some blasphemous thing in the beginning of the stream. I was driving,
What was
so
that?
I didn't get to comment on it. But you said somebody I think maybe had commented that Dave Chappelle is the GOAT, and you challenged that, and I was just sitting there in the car like, how dare he? But
He's not the GOAT in terms of stand-up comedy. His show was pretty cool, but see, I'm controversial on that. I think Key and Peele show was funnier than Dave Chappelle's show, even though
oh, you tripping? Oh, you
I've
tripping? Did you just compare? I mean, don't get me wrong, those brothers. I mean, they're talented, but did you just compare them to Dave Chappelle?
their show was funnier. Their Comedy Central show was funnier
Okay.
than Dave Chappelle's Comedy Central show. The only thing that made Dave Chappelle's show funnier is that the classic Rick James, bitch, the classic of the Rick James and the Prince, those will go down in history as just all time insanely ridiculous funny. But the thing is, I was late to the party with Dave Chappelle. I didn't, so I had heard all the jokes and I knew everything that was damn near going to happen before it happened. So when I watched it, I was just watching it to see what everybody else had been talking about. But overall, yeah, I do stand on that, and I've argued with plenty of people on that Key and Peele show, pound for pound, bar for bar, scene for scene, was funnier than the Dave Chappelle show.
You do
I
see
will stand on that.
you do see everyone in the comments, calling you cap, right? Because that's exactly what you are right now. Is full blown cap. That's all you are
I'm
right
not
now.
capping.
Uh,
And it's not capping if it's my honest opinion. You
Oh
can
no,
say I'm wrong.
I'm not saying you're capping. I'm saying you're cap. Like like Bernard is an
I
entire.
embody the cap.
You are
I'm not
cap.
capping. I am the cap.
Exactly. Yes, correct. I mean,
Hey,
I like again. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love Key and Peele, man. I love watching their stuff. But I mean, that's quite that's very blasphemous of you to even dare compare Dave Chappelle to them. Um, like it doesn't even come close.
thank you, Theo. Theo came to save me. Theo says I agree with Bernard now.
Theo is just trying to be peacemaker, okay? And I respect that, Theo.
No. Theo,
But
whatever.
Theo knows the truth. Theo knows the truth. He's just trying to be peacemaker. That's all.
Yeah, even as just a stand-up comedian, though, he's good. Put it like this: his show, and it's funny because I just kind of put his show number 2 to Key and Peele, but his show is his bigger claim to fame than his actual stand-up comedy. His stand-up comedy has always been good, been really good. It's been really good, but I never thought he was like the best at just full-blown stand-up comedy. I always liked Chris Rock more and a few other people.
Well, you know what? I'll leave that alone. But
Yeah.
from now on, Bernard, anything else you say from now on, I'm gonna side eye it from
Yeah.
now on.
They think I'm trolling, man. All right, listen, that's my honest opinion. Different people hear different things. But I never thought Dave Chappelle's stand-up was like GOAT level. It's just he's really, really he's funny as hell. Dave Chappelle, goddammit. I mean, like Half Baked. I mean, I lost count how many times I watch Half Baked. Like his movies and his show is better than his comedy, his stand-up comedy to me. To me, that's just where I'm at with it. But all right.
See, the funny thing is, like, um, I understand that stuff can be subjective, Bernard. So, like, for example, I think Kevin Hart is I think he's all right. But I can I can understand when some people say Kevin Hart is not funny, and then some people say he's hilarious. But you just can't. It's not the same with Dave Chappelle. It's just not. It really isn't. I'm sorry, it's not.
All right. Kevin Hart had one funny one. That one called Seriously Funny. It's like the cover of it is like green. Yeah, just type in Seriously Funny. That was the only one where it was like, whoa, this dude funny as hell. But then it was like once he blew up, it was like, okay, now he overrated. He's selling out the entire state of Texas. And when your audience is that big, it's like you can never deliver on the expectation when he pack up the entire not the damn Silver Dome, not the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. He packed up the entire state of Texas. That's how many people come to see Kevin Hart perform on stage at one point. I was like, no, you can never deliver on that. You can't be that funny to where that many people are in attendance. So that's why I was to me that's what made him seem overrated, because nobody's that damn funny. But yeah. But anyway, don't go nowhere, because I do want to talk to you about something off the air. But we about to get up out of here. Thank you, Theo in the building. He says, "Chat, don't make me go Wayne." Wayne Brady on you, Chappelle is the bomb. Yeah, yeah. See, that's another classic Dave Chappelle right there.
Hey Bernard, can you just call me directly, because this StreamYard it heats up my phone.
Okay, you got
My
that Plantation Wireless too. I understand. All right,
no,
you
no,
want to
no. It's
flip
just I
me?
don't know why. I think something about StreamYard. It just heats up my phone. I don't know why. So
All right. But Shay, we about to get up out of here. This one will be going to members only. I'm going to be dropping some members only content that won't even be live temporarily. So I'm going to start doing more members only stuff, Patreon only stuff. I want to grow the memberships and the Patreons and whatnot. So be on the lookout for that. I suggest you become a member. But anyway, we getting the hell up out of here. Let's where we at? I cannot find the get the hell out of here button. Where's it at? Thank you, Theo, for those super chats. Do appreciate you, and we are out of here. Peace.